din is-session u anki jintom jekk tkunu tridu terġgħu tisimgħu il-preżentazzjoni taraw il-presentation forsi minħabba biex tiċċaraw xi affarijiet tkunu tistgħu tagħmlu dan. Nfakrukom biex taqraw ir-regulations kif se nkunu qed ngħidu fil-presentation u anke biex tippreparaw id-documentations tagħkom li hemm bżonn. Mela ħanibdew bil-mod għall-presentation u fil-każ ħudu nota tal-punti li għandkom tagħmlu ħalli wara ma noqogħdux nirrepetu ċertu mistoqsijiet. Sakru li l-ħin huwa kontra kulħadd. Mela.
Sorry, can you speak English?
The presentation is in English. Maybe we will be swapping on and off to Maltese, but of course we try to adjust accordingly, okay? But the presentation is definitely in English, okay?
Okay.
Just a minute because some people are still entering the meeting. So, Mela, this is the Endeavour 6th call and the TESS 3rd call scholarship scheme. We are going to speak both about the Endeavour and about the TESS scholarship scheme. There are two distinct schemes, both offering scholarships at postgraduate level. But as from last year, the Endeavour is offering only scholarships at MQF level 7 because the project is now reaching its end. TESS offers scholarships at both MQF level 7 and level 8, mostly masters, that is, and in the case of level 8, PhDs and professional doctorates. Endeavour Scholarship Scheme is an ESF-funded project, part financed by the European Union, while the TESS is a nationally funded scheme. Both schemes are administered by the Scholarships Unit within the Ministry for Education and Employment. Selection is carried out by separate boards. So it means that there is a selection board appointed for the Endeavour and another selection board appointed for TESS. So both Endeavour and TESS scholarship scheme were launched on 13th July. Each scheme has its own set of regulations which are accessible through our website. Even if you Google Make My Scholarship, you will end up in our website. So it is not a difficulty at all. Online application is available and accessible through the same website above mentioned. Applicants need to have an EID to access the application and to apply. Prospective applicants are advised to first go through the regulations and then move on to the applications. Applicants are also advised to prepare beforehand the mandatory documentations needed to be attached with the application before starting navigating the application. So please go to clause 8 of both sets of regulations so that you will know what you need beforehand. So you will not be ending up starting the application, stop again, look for the other documents and so on. Please make sure that you receive an automatic acknowledgement after the submission of your application. That is the proof that you have submitted a proper application, okay? And that is your evidence that you filed an application. Wait a second, okay. Only applications submitted through the established online system are acceptable. Applications deadline is 31st July 2020 by noon local time. So please do not leave it for the last minute to apply. The last day will be difficult for everyone. And please note that the application closes automatically at noon local time. Okay, so it would be ideal after this meeting, you start preparing seriously for your applications. The application intake is still slow at the moment, but we would expect that by tomorrow we start receiving actual applications and more applications because it will be very difficult at a later stage. The fact that it is online, you may apply during the weekend, late at night, at any time. So you have enough time, ample time to submit your applications. Applications, let's say by email later on, after the closing date for applications, or by hand, definitely could not be accepted. Applicants can only submit one application, either under the Endeavour or under TESS. You cannot apply under Endeavour or TESS at the same time. You will be noticing why at a later stage. You will have full explanation in the applications. Okay, so there will be not any repetitive work, or you will become ineligible just for the sake because you have not followed the regulations. So late and incomplete applications will not be accepted. Applicants should make themselves available for the interview at a later stage, because those that will be eligible will be called for an interview. Interviews are expected to be carried out. We are doing our utmost to start them closer to end of August, and we'll definitely have to intensive sessions between August and September, depending on the number of applications received, and of course the board members' availability and logistics matters to have the sessions accordingly. Skype facilities will also be offered, but of course, those till the time being, it is considered as exceptional circumstances. But of course, we have to see, according to the COVID situation, what will develop and what not. But at the moment, we are aiming that interviews will be carried out as usual. So scholars or abroad, so you may find an institution either in Malta or a foreign institution. Applicants may apply to follow courses, either full-time, part-time, or distance learning programs. The thing is that as long as it is an recognized institution. On the application, you have the facility to mention more than one program, and you are advised to do so. Institutions and programs. That is because some individuals lose an opportunity because they just mention one institution. Then the course might not open because there will not be enough applicants, and you will lose an opportunity. So think ahead. You don't need the unconditional letter of acceptance now to apply. Those are things that you can provide later on. There is another deadline. We will come to it later on. So see what is mandatory at this point in time, and move on to the application. Applicants are obliged to provide. Wait. Applicants are obliged to provide an evaluation statement for both past qualifications and for the one that they are applying for. We come to that also at a later on. What interests us are qualifications that are above level 5, above MQF level 5. We don't need your A levels, your O levels, or courses attended. We need your pure academic tertiary education, such as diplomas, degrees, masters. It depends for what you are applying for. So to facilitate the process, we make a change in the regulations, and later on I have another slide to explain further. Okay, applicants are also obliged to provide an evaluation statement for the prospective one. That means the one that you are applying for it to under the scheme. So applicants who are already in possession of masters and would like to follow another masters, they can apply, but only under the TESS scheme. Those who are in possession of a master's, under the Endeavour scheme. So under the Endeavour scheme, let me clarify, those who are already in possession of a master's may apply to read for another master's, but they cannot apply, for instance, to read for a postgraduate diploma because it is lower than a master's. They might either apply for another master or otherwise apply under TESS in the case they are interested to continue for a PhD. But again, in the case of those who are already in possession of an MQF level 8 doctoral degree, they cannot apply under neither of the schemes, okay? So if applying for an MQF level 7, in the case of the Endeavour scholarship scheme, only those applying to read for programs at MQF level 7 that are up to not more than 2 years. Please be careful about this. Even if it is 2 years and 1 day, you are not eligible. It has to be clear. 2 years, sharp 2 days. Let's say from September of this year to September 2022, 24 months. 24 months, straight 24 months. If the program is longer than 2 years, then you have to apply under TESS, okay? If applying for an NQF level 8, such applicants can only apply under TESS for the same reason that we mentioned earlier, because now the Endeavour is reaching at its end. Applications who, by closing date of application, are still undergoing another program of studying, may still apply, provided that such program is to be concluded and the results published by December 2020, by the end of this year. That is before entering into agreement if awarded a scholarship under TESS or under an Endeavour scheme. So, applicants who have already started their program of study before the launching of the scheme, that is before 13th July, are only eligible to apply under the TESS scheme, provided that the end date of their program must be in 2020 or after. In such cases, 2021. So their end date must be next year. In such cases, the grant will be worked pro rata, and applicants will be eligible for funding of expenditure as from January 2019 onwards. Such applicants still have to provide us with an unconditional letter of acceptance or a registered letter. So this is one of the differences between the schemes. If applying under Endeavour, your master's must not be longer than 2 years. If applying under TESS, your master's could be more than 24 months, and if in case you already started, your only option is TESS. There are 15 priority areas identified under each scheme. They are the same, so it shouldn't be a problem, but it is obligatory to indicate a priority area. This is because when we will come to schedule the interviews, we have to adjust the panel accordingly, and that is a must, okay? You will find them accordingly under Section 7 in case of the Endeavour, or Section 16 in case of TESS. Applicants are required to indicate the priority area related with the relative chosen program of studies. Some people will face some difficulty to identify the area, but if you go through the examples also provided or discuss with an academic person, they might lead you perfectly. So we are going to tackle again the differences between the schemes. So if you are a person who are going to follow MQF level 7, the core, you are obliged to start your program between 13th July, since the date when the scheme was launched, and 31st December. So you have to start your courses by end of December this year. You can apply for full-time, part-time, or distance learning program as long as your program is not more than 2 years. You will find the details in section 11, table 1, and under all modalities. So that is one difference. Just a second. Mela. In the case of TESS and of QF level 7, can apply those who started their program throughout 2020. It could be also full-time, part-time, and distance learning. The program has to be more than 2 years, okay? Just a second, let me check. All right, sorry. Okay. So, and this is extracted from the table provided in the regulations. So you will find more details there, of course. So the options are either you started since the launching of the scheme, or if you have already started the program, you may apply under TESS, as long as your program is more than 2 years. If you are just going to start with your program, if you already started, at least your program, the end date of your program must be in 2021 or after. So in the case of level 8, as we mentioned earlier, your only option is TESS. And again, those who are going to start now, they may apply under TESS, and those who have already started their program at level 8, they can apply under TESS. So the value of the award. Since last year, there was a change under the Endeavour on the way how the grant works. Okay, so there is a difference of the modus operandi of the grant between the Endeavour and TESS. So, but in the case of the Endeavour, the grant is based on the number of credits related with your course. Okay, there is no further distinction about whether you are following programs on full-time, part-time, or distance learning. They are treated the same. And so in the case of programs that are being awarded by Maltese institutions, you will be entitled for 58 euros per ECTS. In the case of foreign institutions, that your qualification is going to be awarded by a foreign institution, you will be benefiting from 100 euros per ECTS. In the case of TESS, we are still applying the old method, let's say, put it like that. So individuals who will be following full-time courses under TESS, they will be benefiting from, the grant will consist for the full-timers 8,000 euros per annum, which also comprise the tuition fees, bench fees, if any, and the maintenance grant. In the case of the maintenance grant, cannot be higher than 2,500. So the 8,000 covers the tuition fees, bench fees, and the maintenance grant. In the case of the part-timers, and the grant consists of 8,000 for the whole duration of the course. Okay. And in this case, we are referring to the MQF level 8 under TESS, and the grant consists of 10,000 for the full-timers, 10,500 euros per annum. The same, it comprises the tuition fees, bench fees, and maintenance grants. And the maintenance grant cannot be higher than 2,500. In the case of the distance learning or part-timers following QF level 8, the grant consists of 20,000 euros for the whole duration of the course. As a TESS grant, we are repeating here, but to emphasize, TESS grant for full-time studies, the scholarship consists of tuition fees, bench fees, and maintenance grant. The grant is to be calculated pro rata, based on the per annum, based on the number of months. For definition of per annum, see the regulations. Maintenance grant, if applicable, shall be paid in 2 installments. the first part with the grant and the second after the second half of the year after providing us with the progress report. So here we have the allowances. So apart from the grant, awardees will be entitled for allowances. Those that will be following courses abroad will be entitled for an allowance of 2,500 per annum. Marriage allowance only in the case of TESS will be allowed 2,330 euros. There is the child allowance, and there is stated what you will be entitled for, GOJO allowance, and awardees with disability. You have everything explained in the regulations, so please go through them. Everything is simply explained. Mela. Award. So there are other benefits for those that will be following courses on part-time basis. Those that will be required to attend some modules on campus, they will be entitled for 200 euros per visit, but it cannot exceed the 2,400 over 12 months. So basically, every academic year, you will be entitled for up to not more than 2,400. See the conditions. You need to provide us, for instance, with the boarding passes, a declaration from your supervisor that you actually attended on campus, and so on. So these are, in a nutshell, the differences between TESS and Endeavour. Okay. So if you see this slide, you are supposed to follow much more better what distinguish one scheme from another. So in the case of TESS, if applying under TESS, you can follow programs at MQF level 7 and 8 already started in 2020 before the launching, or prior 2020 already started, but completion date must be in 2020. Programs at MQF level 7 started after the launching must be longer than 2 years. Progress at MQF level 8 are accessible to follow programs full-time, part-time, and distance learning. TESS is nationally funded. In the case of the Endeavour, applying to read 4 courses at MQF level 7, which started between 13th July and 31st December 2020, up to not more than 2 years, applicants already in possession of a master may also apply to read for a master. The scheme is available only for those to follow MQF level 7. The scheme is part financed by the European Social Fund. Important deadlines. So, see what mandatory applications you need by the 31st of July while you are uploading the application. In the case of the unconditional letter of acceptance, if you have it already, upload it. For past qualifications and you already have the transcripts, please upload them. You don't need someone from the office send you an email to provide the transcript. Okay. MQRIC evaluation report, we will come to that. See the regulations carefully, and the deadline to provide the unconditional letter of acceptance, transcripts that are not yet available, and the MQRIC statement. You have another deadline that is of 9th October 2020 by 4 p.m. Okay, so the unconditional, you don't need the unconditional letter of acceptance now. You can provide us that at a later stage. Some people do not apply because they will not be already in possession of an unconditional letter of acceptance. When you come to the unconditional letter of acceptance later on, please ask your institutions to send them directly to us. We advise you that manner because and in this age and time, no longer hard copies are being provided, and we want it actually from your institution. In case you will be awarded, you will be already have the proper documentation in file. there is a clause in the regulations showing what needs to be included in the ULA, and here we have them. You need to have the commencement date of your studies with the specific day, month, and year, and date of studies, specific day, month, and year, course title, modality of study, whether it is a full-time, part-time, or distance learning, the number of credits, the number of obligatory visits. This applies for those who are studying courses on part-time and distance learning courses, the tuition fees and bench fees, if any. At the bottom, you have the clauses that you need to follow. Please go through them so that you will prepare your institutions to provide such documentation. So these are the mandatory documents that you need by when you are applying. So you need to prepare your CV. You need to prepare those 3 appendices. You have explanation in the regulations what they should include. Do not forget that these are the make or break of your interview. So do your own research. Do not ask someone to do your research on your behalf, because you will not be able to defend them during the interview. We know what we are saying. Okay, some people lose an opportunity just because they take it lightly. Okay, in case of the endeavor, you need to provide a statement that you are going to finish your program in the specified time, in 2-year time. In case for foreigners, you also need to upload your residence permit, if applicable, GOZO certificate for those who will be claiming to benefit from the GOZO allowance, and disabled card for those who will be claiming the person's disability allowance. The statement is provided in the case of the copy of statement. It is provided with the endeavor regulations. So you cannot make it easier than that. You can just print it, print that. It is schedule 3, the last page of the regulations. Sign it and upload it with your application. My colleague has reminded me also that with the regulations and application, you may also find there are some FAQs prepared under each scheme that you can follow, okay, on the website to make it easier for you to follow, okay? These are what we want to explain about the MQRIC statement. To facilitate the process, you don't need to provide us with the MQRIC statement if your qualification is from the University of Malta, the MCAST or ITS. You also don't need to provide us with a statement if, just a second, if your your qualification that you already attained is through another institution registered in Malta, and it features in the list of accredited courses offered by the licensed institution. So if it shows there, you don't need to provide us with an MQRIC statement, okay? But if it's not, you need to provide us with an MQRIC statement. The same counts for the prospective one. If you are going to follow, so for your prospective qualification, if you are going to follow a program with the University of Malta, MCAST or ITS, you don't need to provide us with an MQRIC statement. Even also, if your qualification shows on the list of courses provided on the NCFHE website, you don't need to provide us such a statement. Otherwise, you need to provide us with the statement. So, research chosen. This perhaps it will affect you later on for those who are going to start the masters later on. But it already affects directly those who are already in their PhD research and so on, who already started their course. Please choose research topics which are feasible and that you that could be sustainable. What we want to mean here is that while doing your research, you don't depend on other factors that are beyond your control. I know that this year some people face difficulties because of COVID, but COVID, no one was anticipating such an ordeal, but it is on us. Choose feasible research, okay? Yes. Full-time studies abroad. Okay, this is a sort of like what we want to mean by full-time studies abroad. When we are saying full-time studies abroad, it shall mean that you are physically full-time on campus. So if in case, let's say, take the scenario, if in case you are not going to be on campus, let's say some of you, due to COVID, those who applied last year, had to return to Malta. We had to work their study abroad allowance pro rata. So that's what we want to mean, that you have to be physically on campus. It will be work pro rata accordingly. In the respect of this, awardee registered on full-time programs abroad cannot request to work part-time work in Malta or placements in Malta. Part-time, okay, as long as it might be remotely, okay, but internship in Malta, it's not possible, or placement in Malta. So be careful. Mela. Please know that the aim of this PowerPoint presentation is to provide you with a general idea on both the Endeavour and the TESS scholarship scheme. Both schemes' regulations prevail on this presentation, okay? It is your responsibility to check that your application is according to what is specified in the regulations, okay? So these are the details according to your scheme. If you are applying for Endeavour and you have some queries, please send your emails on that address. If you are interested in TESS, send your emails on the tess.med@gov.mt. That is the contact number where you will be guided by the service.gov for further information. So thank you for the time being. We will now open for questions. Please pay attention for the questions that are being asked by other participants in this shared Zoom meeting, okay? So that we will not repeat and save time, and give the opportunity to everyone to share his or her views. Yes, after we are going to open for these questions, may I kindly remind you that there will be the other presentation from our colleague, our friend from BOV, which might interest you, because we are noticing that fees are getting higher and higher all the time, especially also for those who will be studying abroad. We saw evidence during this year, because they had to provide a proof, how high are rents abroad and accommodation. Okay, so another helping hand will definitely be an asset for you.
Hi, good afternoon. I wish to ask, I have applied for a university in the United Kingdom, and the tuition fee alone is 9,500, and accommodation goes up to 5,500. Is it possible to still apply for a scholarship and have a loan at the same time?
Yes, our friend here will explain further on that. Yes, as long as there will not be any issue of double funding, of course that will be possible.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, yes.
Hi, I have a question regarding the dates, especially because I saw the FAQs and I have already applied for my course and I have the precise dates. And basically, my dates are, for example, 14 September 2020 until 30th September 2020. 2022, sorry. Does that count as 24 months or is it more since the days are not the same?
It is more than 24 months. So you need to apply under TESS.
Yes, only. Thank you.
Yes, okay?
Thank you very much.
Okay, so someone else?
Hi.
Yes?
Just a very quick question with regards to the appendix 2.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. With regards to appendix 2, this is with basically preparing. This is for test, preparing relevance for the study for the Malta strategic priorities and the 2020 strategies. Now, within the documentation of test, there is nothing specific. So I'm assuming we just have to go to the European Commission and check the Maltese targets from there.
Yes, yes, yeah. That would be yes.
Because there is no particular document which states them. Now, can I just confirm it's basically these are maybe you don't know them by heart, but they are employment rate, gross domestic product, greenhouse emissions, renewable energy efficiency, early leavers, and education.
You have to focus on those what is relevant to your course.
Yes, yes. I just want to make sure those are the items because they might change intermediately, and being 2020 now, there might be some being at the very end, and the conversations are going right now about going forward. Just wanted to make sure these are
go through some actual research that is relevant to your studies. Okay, that you can quote why it is relevant to your studies.
No, I appreciate. Now, what I'm saying is I wanted to make sure that it's the same. They haven't changed.
No, not exactly.
Okay, thanks. That's
okay.
what I wanted to know. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, good evening.
Yes.
In relation to Carl's comment, I posted a comment in the chat, but I Googled those and the documentation is available. You just have to sift through it a little bit, if that's of any help. If you Google EU 2020, you'll find the documents. They're from 2011. And you'll find the Maltese version as well. And if you want, I can send you my email address and I'll be able to help you.
If you can paste it over here, that would be fantastic. But the only thing I found was, if I may interject, basically it's the European website, European Commission.
Yes, that's the main one. I found a slide for the Maltese one as well.
All right, if you can copy paste it, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
I will do. I had a quick question.
Yes. Thank you for your input first and foremost.
No problem. I've completed my application. I haven't submitted it yet because I need to reread it. But I've been bothering your colleagues about the MQREC, about two things. One is about the MQREC. So I know that I have to supply my actual transcripts and certificates to you directly. But then I also have to have them evaluated by the MQREC to bring them in line with the Maltese qualification.
Yes.
Is that correct? So it's two things. I supply both.
Level 6.
So you need to provide us with a copy of the transcript.
Yep.
That you can forward it by yourself. Not only for you. So if it is a foreign institution, you have to provide us with an MQREC report. Yes.
Understand. That answers my question.
You have the details on our regulations.
Yes,
how to access them.
I wasn't sure if a foreign university degree needed to be evaluated or not. That's also my question.
Yeah, because they don't offer the list, so there's no other way how we can confirm.
I found the website. I've already gone through it, so I know what I need.
Good.
My second question is on the nature of the grants, and I have sent a couple of emails about this, and I wanted to check. I'm already in my PhD program. I started in January.
You started in January, okay.
I started in January, so I'm 6 months in. And I was able to win a scholarship that covered my tuition fees.
Uh-huh.
I took part in a UK-based competition, and I won that. But because I'm a Maltese citizen, I'm not eligible for the maintenance grant.
Okay.
And the maintenance grant is the biggest portion because accommodation here is about 10,000 euros per year. what I want to know is if I can apply to the test program specifically to assist with that portion of my.
Listen, in the past, we have some students who have a scholarship provided, a bursary from the university or from another body, and they benefited for instance, if you are studying abroad, the maintenance grant. We have, our advice is to apply, then the board will see what type of grant that you are receiving.
Okay, I understand.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I
Else?
have a question in terms
Yes.
of clarification. The translate in when submitting our application, is it the modules that we will study in the university, or the transcripts from our past?
I did not. Can you repeat, please? I didn't understand the first part of your.
Sorry, I didn't get.
Can you repeat?
Yes, the transcript that we need to provide
Alright.
when submitting the application.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the transcript from our past degrees that we achieved?
Yes, of course, because they are your past records. Yes, you need to provide.
No, just to clarify.
Yes. You need to provide full transcript, detailed transcript for those qualifications from MQF level 5 onwards. So let's say if you already attained a bachelor's degree, you need to provide us with the detailed transcript that includes the marks and the classification.
Okay, thank you.
These are required because one of the criteria, as you may notice from the regulations, is the academic criteria, and you can gain marks on those. The board can only calculate from what if we see the transcripts and your certificates.
But I want to ask, I want to ask
Yes.
if it's from a Maltese university, do we still have to provide the MQRIC thing and the transcript?
The transcript, yes. The empiric, no. But the transcript we need. The full transcript, the one that include the marks as well. The marks and the classification. Okay? Thank you.
Hi. Sorry, I already have an unconditional letter of acceptance, but it does not include the number of credits. So it does not include the full list of what you specified.
So
does that mean that I need to ask my university?
Contact your university to provide us with the full details. And,
then
to include the number of CTSs and to forward it directly to our offices, depending on under which scheme you are applying.
Okay, so
have the email address for that?
You have in the last slide.
Okay, just the generic Endeavour or test email then.
And for instance, endeavour.meda@gov.mt or test.meda@gov.mt.
Okay.
So I don't need to apply the unconditional letter of acceptance, which I already have, since it doesn't have everything. I may not upload it.
It does not harm. You can upload it, and my colleagues will help you.
Okay, all right. Thank you.
It will be a provisional one, but we have to make sure then that by October, by then, we have all the details. But my colleagues will be...
Perfect, thank you.
But please ask your university to provide the ECTSs.
To add to this, basically my university is a Scottish one, so their courses are not with ECTS. Shall they write the Scottish credits amount on it?
And add the equivalent.
They add the equivalent. Okay.
Okay.
I will let them know. Thank you.
Yes, please.
Sorry. Hi, good evening. May I ask a question?
Yes.
Hi, Mela. I want to ask regarding the total bill, so as to speak. I want to speak about TESS scholarship scheme on a part-time basis. Let's say the duration that is written on the unconditional letter is 7 years, and one would finish in 6 years. What happens in that case? Do we have to pay back for the extra year? I'm speaking about part-time basis.
You will, the maximum in the regulations, as far as I know, is 7 years. When we come to the agreement, then you have to decide on the number of years, because the grant will be worked in apportionments. Let's say if you are going to take 6 years, we divide the 20,000. It depends. It's up to 20,000. It depends the fees. On the fees that will be declared on the unconditional letter of acceptance.
But what I'm saying is, let's say it's written on 7 years, so it's worked out on 7 years, and in any case, we will be paying before you pay us. So if we finish earlier, like in 6 years, what happens with the extra year? Do we have to? It just happens that it will be worked out on 6 years, because basically what happens is, with every extra year with part-time basis, there's basically an extra amount. So in that year,
we will pay you. Let's say, if
it costs me 2,500 per year, you will pay me back for the 6 years, not 7. Did I get it right? There is no.
That's why I told you have to decide beforehand the number of years that you are going to take when we come to the agreement.
Okay, fair enough. But if there is any discrepancy, no one is penalized to finish before, so as to speak.
No, you're not penalized because you finished before in terms of part-time, in terms of the tuition fees. You will be paid according to the receipts that you will be providing us, as long as we will it will be up to 20,000. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hi.
Iktar.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, tell me.
Yes, can I?
Yes.
Can I?
Hi. Sorry. Sorry.
To what chance, please? I should prova. Corinne.
Yes. Hi.
Yes.
I just had a question because my first semester is going to be online due to the coronavirus. Would that be pro rata basis? So, for example, one ECTS is €100, right?
One ECTS. If you are going to study with a, let's say, UK institution, yes.
Yes. So if I do 30 ECTSs here and 30 ECTSs abroad, so my first semester is going to be online, so I'm going to stay in Malta, and the second semester is going to be abroad. Would that the fair?
It will not affect you about the ECTSs. So let's say if you will be entitled, let's say your course will be 90 ECTSs. Therefore, you will be entitled for 9,000. Okay? It shouldn't be a problem on those lines, but your problem will be about your study abroad allowance. We will pay you the study abroad allowance since when you will be in the UK.
Okay, so it would be, rather than 2.5K, it would be 2.5K times the amount of months.
Let's say that you will go to the UK in January instead from coming September.
Exactly.
Okay, so we will take the 2,500 division by 12, and according to the months that you will be studying in the UK. Okay.
Fair enough. And when would these be determined, and when would the payment be issued, please?
It's a whole process, dear. It depends. Mela, it depends on the number of applications that we are going to receive. There is a whole process. Okay. Normally we spend about 7 weeks of interviews with morning and afternoon sessions. Okay. Then there is, of course, the back office work, the inputting of marks, the workout of. The board will need to work the academic marks and so on. We need to wait for your unconditional letter of acceptance by 9th. We are doing our utmost to simplify, but time is always against us.
I understand. Thank you.
Okay, so more.
I had a question. So if we're living abroad by the time the interviews start being done, Skype is available in that case. I don't assume we're going to have to fly
Yes,
back.
when you receive the invite, then you just informed us that you require your interview by Skype because you are already on campus.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. Could you please explain again how payments are affected for courses that take place in Malta?
Under TESS or Endeavour?
Under TESS, please.
Under TESS, there is no issue whether it is in Malta or abroad, depending on your modality. It's a full-time course or part-time?
It's a part-time course.
So for a master's?
Master's, yes.
So you will be entitled for 8,000 for the whole duration of the course.
And is it affected per semester, or we have to pay first and then upon?
In both cases, you have to pay first, and we reimburse you.
All right. Okay.
Both in the case of Endeavour and in the case of TESS, because we don't know when the agreements are going to take place. So, for instance, if you are going to start in September, and we will be most probably doing the interviews, and the university is asking you to pay the fees, you have to pay the fees, then we reimburse you. We are no longer allowed to pay the institutions.
Fair enough. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I have a few questions.
Mm-hmm.
So, with regards to Annex 1 of the Endeavour, if I decide to add another preference to course, so, do I have to refer to this course also in Annex 1 in the explanation of the relevance of study, or do I simply explain one course?
If they are similar, you may prepare common appendices, but if they differ a lot, you have to prepare 2 sets.
2 sets, okay. And with regards to, you said that the unconditional letter of acceptance has to be sent directly by the university.
By the institution, yes.
Okay, so that's by October as well?
That's by October, yes.
Okay, that's by October.
The sooner, the better. Why? Because our colleagues will assist you. Let's say they notice that something is missing. They will contact the institution or you to ask the university, let's say, to provide us the number of credits because they are not included.
Okay, and one final question. The final result rankings, when they are published, does this have to do with the funding provided? Or is everyone given the funding fully that they're eligible to?
That's why we make a selection, because the funding are restricted. So let's say for the Endeavour, we have 1 million voted for that. So we will give the number of scholarships that fits under the 1 million.
Okay, but is the student given the full percentage, or can you be given, for example, I don't know, 60% of the amount?
What do you mean? I am not.
So once you're I mean, you're listed as a
an awardee.
Exactly. So you're given the full amount. You cannot be given a percentage of it.
No, you will be entitled what you according to the grant. So if you are following a course with a UK institution, let's say, you will and you have 90 ECTSs, you will be paid for those according to the grant established by €100 per credit.
Okay, thank you.
Next.
In relation to the first question asked by Michaela, if, for instance, you have applied for 2 different preferences in terms of courses, and you are awaiting the acceptance letter. However, the courses differ in the amount of time. So one of them would, for instance, qualify under the Endeavour, and the other one would qualify under TESS. what would be sort of the
as long as it is not the same program, you may apply, but make sure that the one that you are applying under Endeavour is less than 2 years, and the one under TESS is longer than 2 years.
Okay, so in that case, you can submit 2 applications as long as they are different programs.
As long as they are different programs.
Okay.
Hello? Għal xiex għattajd li ma nafux xaħna namlu. Mela neskludukum mill-ewwel. All right, għat nipruvaw nejnuk. X'nista' ngħidlek, min nista' ngħidlek mela m'intix eligible, imma kinti li qed tipprovdini b'kors li huwa itwal minn sentejn. Għaliex ngħidlek ineligible. The board will decide. You apply, the board will decide. It's not in my discretion after all. Next.
Hello. So
yes.
My current issue right now is that I cannot apply, I cannot create a profile on the scholarships link. So whenever I go to create a profile, as soon as I fill in any details, it tells me that when I press to create a profile, it tells me that those details are missing. And then when I do the bare minimum, so I delete anything extra like qualifications or whatever, it tells me, when I press create a profile, it literally tells me, error while saving, please try again. And I've been having this issue for the past 5 days, and it still keeps giving me the same issue.
Tomorrow, first thing in the morning, please call 153, and they will pass you through, or send us an email. Under which scheme you are applying?
I've tried with both, and I keep getting the same error, and it won't let me apply, basically.
What browser are you using?
I've tried Chrome, I've tried Microsoft Edge, I've tried Firefox, I've tried on my mobile, and it still keeps giving me.
It's better to use a normal laptop or.
Yes, of course.
My colleague is suggesting you to go into incognito mode. Because,
I will try that.
Because today we received applications, so the system is up and running.
Okay.
If I can help, I had the same problem, but what was missing was one of my qualifications. It doesn't have, for example, pass or excellent or whatever, but I had to just click one.
Yes,
for
good.
the application to go through. Maybe
yeah.
it's like that.
I will try. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes?
So to open the profile, telephone number 153 or the 25904300.
153.
153. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thanks.
Hello. If I start a master's and I finish with a postgraduate diploma,
that is
will I need to refund the difference?
It could be. It depends what will be decided. But why are you already sort of envisaging that you are going to stop at postgraduate diploma?
Maybe I will not obtain the enough credits to continue with my dissertation. Because after 2 years, I can stop with a postgraduate diploma if I decide, or if I don't have the enough credits to continue with my dissertation. If the case be.
It depends on the board what will decide. So be careful. I know that you have an exit point either at certificate, diploma, and so on. But if you are applying for a master's and you will not get that qualification, you may face some problems. But you are
all the 2 years.
Maybe it depends what the board will decide. It's up to the board. Okay. So for those,
thank you.
Okay, but you remind me of an important thing. Make sure that those of you who are following a master's, and of course they told you you have first to be successful in your postgraduate diploma, and so on. Make sure that your unconditional letter of acceptance will be postgraduate diploma leading to a master's. Okay? Make sure that the master's is mentioned if that is your intention. Okay?
Okay. No,
Yes.
not if it isn't my intention, but if the case be that I will not have
No,
enough credit-
but I am speaking for those, because when we understand that your university will let you to enroll to the next step if you pass the first year, the second year, whatever. But if you are applying for a master's, make sure that your university mention that you are following a postgraduate diploma leading to a master's. Okay, I'm saying to all of you, make sure that it will be that way. If they will not put in straight away masters, because otherwise you will not be refunded for the part of the masters. That's why we are highlighting this. More. Let's come to a closure, because
Good afternoon.
I have to ask my colleague for his presentation.
Hi, good afternoon.
Full-time in UK. Does Endeavour cover both course and accommodation?
You will be covered for the tuition fees depending on the rate specified in the regulations. And for the study abroad allowance, you will be entitled for 2,500 per annum, not the whole accommodation. It will be worked pro rata.
So you don't need to add the tenancy agreement, for example?
Might. In fact, this year we had to ask for that. Due to COVID, some of the students returned, and we paid the full if they paid for the whole. What is important is to keep the boarding passes when you leave for the UK or any other country.
Do we attach the tenancy agreement application?
We might ask you for that, but to benefit for the study abroad allowance, in normal circumstances, we don't ask for the tenancy agreement. But this year, because we were instructed by the managing authority, in order to be entitled for the whole, or depending on up to when you paid, we had to ask for the tenancy agreement. Yes.
So we don't need to do it now. We don't need to edit.
For now, no. For now, no. Let's see what is going to happen because of COVID.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we apply for the study abroad allowance during the first application, or that will be settled afterwards?
That will be settled afterwards because you have to be awarded first.
Okay, so we don't need to provide a boarding pass now?
No. Just keep them
safe. Or
safe.
anything like that. Okay, thank you.
May I ask, I already have my letter of acceptance from the University of Malta, but I had to change the title of dissertation due to COVID. Is that a problem? Or
the title of the course?
Of the dissertation. So it was
about...
about...
no, it's okay, it's okay. Upload it, okay?
Okay.
And we will sort that at a later stage, yes?
Okay, understood, thank you. Another question. I am a Gozo resident, but I haven't studied here for I didn't study here for the secondary school and so on. What type of document can I upload?
You cannot upload. If you have not studied in Gozo,
I am Gozo resident.
Okay, just no. That is the what to say, the requirement to benefit from that.
Okay, because I have for example, I have the Gozo subsidy allowance, something
but
like
if you read the regulation carefully, that is the requirement to benefit from that.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
But still, I'm Gozo resident, so it should be like a Gozo.
But that is the requirement.
Well, okay, thank you.
Okay. We have Maltese who are residing in Gozo, but if they Maltese who are not Gozotans, because they did not study in Gozo, they do not benefit from that, even if they are residing there.
Hi, in the regulations, it is stated that the course start must be before the end of the year, by 31st December 2020. I'm aiming to apply under the Endeavour Fund. Now, unfortunately, my course, which was due to start in September, got delayed by a full 3 months, and it will start in January. However, it's still considered a 2020 course. Now, I emailed about this, and the reply I got was a bit uncertain, so I don't know where I fall.
We will see. Listen, we will wait for the ULA, and we will, if you know from now that the course is going to start in January, you will be ineligible. But it depends on the type of ULA you are going to provide us.
Yes, I mean, it is an unconditional letter of acceptance, as you said, but it's confirmed that it's going to start in January. And
then you have to reapply next year.
But in the current regulations, the course must start between June and December. So as I stand, I am in a blind spot where I fall under no regulation. So I'm not eligible for any fund. So
at this moment, no, but next year, you may take your chance.
Yes, but what I mean, this year, the course must start between June 2020, if I read the regulations correctly, and December 2020.
Are you applying under the Endeavour?
Yes.
For both, it counts for both. You have to start your program by 31st December. We have people who are in the session who have become ineligible because of that. Because they did not start the program by 31st December.
Okay, so even if it's out of my hands, it was delayed due to the virus, if that's applicable, but I mean...
But we have to abide with the regulations.
Hello, can you hear me? On a similar note, I am also considering to defer my entry to September 2021, also because of this current situation. But on the other hand, I'm a bit concerned because of Brexit, and I don't know exactly what will happen in the future. How will the tuition fees be changed? So, and the university are unable to confirm. So I think
let's take it step by step. If you are not going to start the program now by 31st December, you will not be eligible.
Okay.
So you have to consider to reapply next year.
Even if I already received the unconditional letter, but they told me that I can defer it to next year, not a problem.
You have to decide whether you are going to start this year or next year.
If I receive the unconditional letter now, but I tell them that I am going to enter the course next year in September 21, then for the Endeavour, I will have to apply next year then. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Next, the last two questions, because we have another presentation. Other queries, you can still reach us by email. Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
If I have more than one master's degree, can I apply for scholarship for the Endeavour scholarship scheme?
So you have more than one master's.
Yes.
And you still want to apply for another scholarship?
For another master's, because there's no mention if you have more than one.
Yes, under the Endeavour, you apply, then the board will decide. But as you said, there's nothing that stops you. Those who already have a master's may apply to read for another master's. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, the last question, please. Okay?
Hi, I applied under the Get Qualified last month because there were no other further open scholarships, and I haven't received anything, right? And I would like to apply for the Endeavour because obviously I prefer that the course is reimbursed rather than in the form of tax credits. What is the best way forward at this stage now that the scholarships are available and open?
Listen, first and foremost, you may open an account with Get Qualified, but you cannot benefit from the Get Qualified until you finish your studies. That's why they perhaps did not get back, because you, at the moment you can only open an account. Because you have to finish your course to benefit from and be successful to benefit from the Get Qualified. So for the time being, you may consider to apply under one of our schemes. Then you have to, also we have our, here Mr. Allur, who will be explaining, you may benefit from under the Get Qualified or from BOV under their scheme, BOV Studies Plus. So I will forward the floor to Mr. Allur so that he will go ahead with his presentation.
Okay. Hello, good afternoon or good evening, depending on the time zone you are in. I'm Tony Allur from Bank of Valletta, and I coordinate the BOV Studies Plus product throughout our branch network and even through other departments which supply and resources for this product to be available to all. The scope of the product, which is a loan, is that it needs to provide it makes further studies much more affordable. Before, you needed support from parents, you might need support with guarantees, waiting for grants and so on and so forth. Nowadays, with further studies and BOV loan, you can easily have access to finance and your studies become, again, much more affordable, more accessible, and it is open to all, subject obviously to the eligibility criteria. The product itself is a unique instrument which is coordinated as well through a call for applications from our end for national funds, for EU funds and national funds, and obviously we assist students through subsidized interest and as well, obviously, much more benefits, which we'll be talking much later on. We finance courses which are locally, abroad, or even by distance learning, even if they are full-time or part-time basis. The interest, which is very important for you to know as students, during the moratorium, being the study period, being fully subsidized. That is, that you won't be incurring any interest payments, any interest charging on the loan amounts that you withdraw to finance and accommodate whatever you might need for your studies. As well, during this moratorium period, which is normally the course period plus 1 year and the maximum of 5 years, which I will explain later, there is no need, absolute no need, and it is not required to have any capital repayments. That is, you'll be repaying part of the loans. It would only, as a matter of fact, be repaid through monthly repayments when you are in full-time employment. The moratorium allows as well 1 year post your studies to find employment. So, as I already told you, it's a very unique offer. The BOV Studies Plus is a very unique offer. There's nothing more available on the Maltese Islands at the moment and of a similar nature. We have designed it through experience and obviously knowing what our students, what potential students need and what they require. And it's supported by the operational program too. And there is no need of what we call security or collateral. That is, nobody needs to provide some kind of guarantee through a home property or whatever it may be, or a bank account. which would support your eventual repayments at later stages. Then again, it is supported by the instrument created by the Operation Program 2. That means, as well, there is no financial commitment from your end as potential student during the course. That is the moratorium period. The interest is fully subsidized, and we repeat, no capital repayments are required during your studies. Repayments will start 1 year after you finish your studies, and they can take up, depending on the amount and other issues, up to a maximum of 10 years, which will be done from your employment. So this is very important. It is to be repaid through monthly repayments when in full-time employment. That means you have easy repayment terms, and as well the actual interest rate, again, which is subsidized by the bank, you can say, or discounted. It is a low 2.95% final interest rate at present during the repayment term. It's close, basically, when you visit these rates or compare, it is relatively close to a home loan rate. Okay. Now, finance provided for tuition fees, accommodation, living expenses, transport if abroad, textbooks, and others. Obviously, the bulk would go for tuition fees, most probably. It depends whether you're accommodated as well, but we can finance as well some living expenses and transport if you're going abroad. As I already told you, you have an additional year to the course, which is included in the moratorium period, which can take up to 5 years, allowing for successful job recruitment. For example, in these troubled times, obviously, a person might find it a little bit difficult to find the appropriate job that he's searching. So that gives you some leeway for you to maneuver around. So what is so unique about BOV Studies Plus in assisting students achieving your goals? It allows full-time students who are not in employment or were not even ever in employment, employees who seek to enhance their qualifications and potential for better career prospects. That would mean most probably that you're looking for something which is much more comfortable and therefore provide you with a higher income that will eventually repay this loan, in addition to any grants and whatever and reimbursements you might receive, which are totally independent from our schedule or of repayment and so on and so forth. And obviously, it would make it your lifestyle necessities will be much and more easier, because this is the most important thing. Most people would sacrifice a year of income in order, for example, to conduct a full-time course for a master's course abroad or even in Malta. Now, in doing so, you wouldn't be burdened, you wouldn't have to have any interest or capital repayments during your studies, and obviously then you can go straight to a good job or a better job, earn a little bit more income, which will eventually pay up your expenses and all those sacrifices that you would have made. There again, we finance, and those students which would eventually be paid through Get Qualified scheme tax credits, or even to supplement other scholarships and grants for further studies. And basically, with that kind of situation, obviously, Get Qualified schemes are paid at the very end, while scholarships may be paid as well throughout. Moreover, you might need some other funding for lifetime necessities, and therefore the scholarships and the grants would help out for those necessities. So, in other words, you can fully finance your studies and accommodation abroad and transport to a certain extent and to a certain amount, obviously, because the loan has to be repaid, and you have to be very careful that the repayment won't burden or it would be affordable, your lifestyle. Students, again, it assists students in receipt of grants and scholarships who need to travel abroad. Now, the open schemes which are presently open, but obviously there are other schemes or other situations which we might be able to help. Obviously, And I repeat, they can be fully financed through the BOV Studies Plus loan. They include obviously the Endeavour scholarship schemes, the Get Qualified incentive schemes, even if there is part and part. There is also, presently, which are open, the Malta Arts Scholarships, the Malta Sports Scholarship Scheme, the Malta Scholarship for Doctoral Program University Institute Fiesole di Firenze, Reach High Post Doctoral Grants, TESS, Tertiary Education Scholarship Scheme, previously known as Endeavour Group B, and the Veterinarian Scholarship Scheme, which are all separate. Obviously, this session of today is concerned with Endeavour and TESS. Why is it a plus? There is no need for you to depend on family and friends during your course. There are very low finance costs. We've made what we can say, we've tried to make the impossible about the costs and the fees. In fact, there is no fees and the interest rate is very low. The repayment of the loan, it will be repaid once in employment. So as well, it's very important for you to plan your employment, post your studies, and I would also tend to suggest, for ease of mind from your end, to have a plan B. Plan A, that is my objective, and plan B, just in case some issues might arise until everything is settled. Obviously, it is designed to enable you to have higher incomes after conducting further studies, so it will be cushioning off the expense for studies and provides the necessary liquidity, and obviously pays back all the sacrifices and effort that you would have made. The repayment term does not entail any grants reimbursement offered by the Education Ministry or the institutions, and does not need to be directed towards the loan repayment schedule. That is, you don't need to use your grant or reimbursement or tax credit at a later stage to repay the loan actually, that is directly. So it could be full finance, repaid from employment, and you can use all those tax credits, reimbursement, grants, whatever, either, for example, to lessen the amount that you would borrow, which would be easier for you to repay at later stages, or else, obviously, it could finance other lifestyle necessities. Obviously, a loan, please remember that a loan needs to be repaid and you need to be comfortable. Okay? Don't waste your funding, don't waste your money, be careful. So we always advise best financial management, and we're here to help you. Benefits, again, maybe some repetition, but it's very important for you to understand this well. There are no processing fees, there are no commitment fees. That is, that if a certain amount of your loan is not taken up, for example, we won't be charged, or not taken up during certain time, we won't be charging you any commitment fees. No contribution is required. It is part of the code for applications. I mean, the whole product, how to be designed. We do not enforce any person to effect any contribution from his own pocket to the course budget for all the accommodation, living, transport expenses, and so whatever. But we do tend to suggest that if you have a high amount, a request for a high amount of financing, please bear in mind that that has to be repaid as well in a period of 10 years. So we might suggest that some contribution could help out in making your life easier. But that would be at a later stage when you can discuss your matters, your specific requirements with our branch. Okay, with one of our representatives at our branches. Now, again, very important, the loan may be repaid over a maximum period of 10 years. That would mean that having a maximum moratorium period of 5 years, plus the 10 years, your loan would be 15 years long. Now, during the first maximum 5 years, because the moratorium period covers the length of the course, plus 1 year until you find employment, then subject to a maximum of 5 years, that period, again, you don't pay any interest, you do not pay it later, it is fully subsidized by the instrument created through the operational program too, And then it is only after the end of the moratorium that you start to repay the loan, and you'll be being charged interest currently at a low 2.95% once the repayment period starts. That is during the last 10 years maximum. Again, we do not request, and we are not allowed to request collateral from your end or from somebody from your family or your friends, because the instrument itself supports any eventual misfortune that might occur, wherein you would find it very difficult, for example, to repay the loan. You do not need to be in employment or ever been in employment to apply. There are no repayments during the moratorium period. The interest accrued is paid, is subsidized and paid in full by the Malta Development Bank. The low interest, again, 2.95%, is payable by the customer during the repayment period. The moratorium period is up to 5 years and includes the 1 year to find employment. To give you an example, you can take out a loan amount of 25,000, which would be charged and has to be repaid in 10 years after your studies plus the 1 year, maximum 5, at 2.95%. That would mean that you would be paying 241.30 euros, 241 euros 30 cents, at an APRC, which is 3.0033% per annum during the period of 10 years. That is, you'll have 120 equal monthly installments. So every month you'll be paying 241.30 for every 25,000 that you take out as a loan. There again, this is quite, it will be found in the brochure, and you can go into the specifics so that I don't waste any time when it comes to costings and whatever. Okay, now we started off in October 2019. Most of the fund, more than half of the fund has already been taken up. We have had a huge success, but there are funds still available, and the fund itself allows that we can apply for more if local Maltese students, citizens of Malta, and permanent residents and so forth would require such, and we can obviously help you out more. It is part financed by the European Social Fund, where the co-financing rate is by the Social Fund at 80% and national funds 20%. Loans are supported by a guarantee of up to 80% of the loan balance, enabling low interest rates charged by Bank of Valletta. That is why we've managed to get the best rate possible for you at 2.95 currently during the repayment period, since you are supported by the fund itself and the national funds. So, as usual, students to borrow money, whoever they are, they need to be 18 years or over. They can either be studying on a full-time or part-time basis. You need to be a Maltese citizen or a national of EU, EEA member state who has obtained permanent residence in Malta, or a national of EU, EEA member state who is employed in Malta, again, and a third country national who has been granted long-term residence status. So, and there again, we have some eligibility to the transaction itself, disbursements, that is, you can be allowed to draw down from the loan. They must be strictly in line with the loan purpose and terms and conditions. Obviously, you will have to submit a student budget plan, and it has to be in line to that. They must be drawn up by the 1st December 2023, and obviously, they cannot be related to payments already effected by yourselves and or to refinance existing loans taken out for the same purpose. No refinancing is allowed. This graphic typically describes the situation we've been, the duration of the loan, have been describing it for a long time. So the moratorium period is a maximum of 5 years. Again, is the course duration plus 1 year for job seeking settlement. And when you come to calculate the repayment term, that is the number of months times 12, obviously, for 1 year, for each year, wherein you'll be repaying that loan, the loan that you would have borrowed, the amount that you've been financed. So if, for example, the loan is less than 10,000, the repayment period would be 2 times the course period. This is very important. It's not the moratorium period, but the course period. So if you're taking a full-time master's abroad for 1 year and the amount is less than 10,000, it would be 2 years for you to repay the loan. If it is between 10,000 and 20,000, 4 times. If it is more than 20,000, 5 times. Obviously, some exceptions may be allowed if a relatively high amount or there are other issues regarding repayment, but then obviously in such cases we have to go to the managing authority to obtain permission for longer terms. So the maximum term of the BOV Studies Plus loan cannot exceed 15, and again, I've been saying this over and over again, 5 plus 10, and the loan term cannot go beyond retirement age. And the repayment, as I already told you beforehand, if it's under 10, you go two times the course duration. Between 10 and 20, it's 4 times. Over 20,000, it is 5 times. And all subject, obviously, to the maximum period of 10 years for the repayment period. Okay? We will consider on a case-by-case basis if need be. Don't you worry. So, what do you need to get to us and to apply? You need to come over to the branch. We advise at the situation that you contact us via email or through our website, and obviously we'll have an appointment. You prepare your ID card, your evidence of income, if applicable. This is a normal standard for us. Most probably, I would prefer to tell you, prepare your Plan A and Plan B for employment post-studies, because that's much more important for us. But yes, if you've been employment in the past, it would help you out for us to understand your financial requirements much better. The evidence, obviously, of the tuition fees, the living expenses, accommodation fees, transport expenses, which basically you need to budget well. You need to give us some evidence as well, and or submit at a later stage. But obviously, you need to be very factual and very exact, because this is no joke. You are being funded through EU funds and Maltese national funds. That is quite fair that your budget is well in line to regulations, and obviously do not overspend, and neither you might have other requirements at a later stage that you need to take care. Okay. We have a student budget form which is available, and you can have a look at to the website and prepare it. It will help you out if you need be. And the additional details form, which basically would give us quite a good view of what you intend to study, the course, the university, the institution, and obviously what you plan as post-employment. There again, I tend to repeat, please bear in mind that is very important for us to understand what you intend to be employed with a Plan A and a Plan B if necessary. Sometimes these things might look long-term, but please remember that the loan has to be repaid. And this is very comfortable for us as well, and affordable for us if we are certain that we'll be able to repay that loan, because we do not like people to be burdened with unnecessary debt and other issues that would make life a little bit miserable instead of making it affordable. If you have any higher purchase and other commitments, it's important to inform the bank. Obviously, there are various checks and balances that we check out with the financial position of our customers for various reasons, and obviously we do not like for our customers to take unnecessary risks. So please, further information, www.bov.com. Our telephone number is 21 31 2020, and email info@bov.com. You can use the Get in Touch button as well on the website, or else just come over to our branches. Obviously, the situation with COVID-19, it is best that you fix an appointment with us. We'll be able to help you. We've got people available. We are training more people right now as well with regards to this product because it's very specialized, but we're there to assist, and they can give us a call as well at head office, at Consumer Finance Center, where we will give them more assistance and support to all your requirements. Please bear in mind that courses, especially those abroad, are very different from each other. The regions, taking for example the UK, are different from each other as well. The accommodation costs are different. If you're talking of the Greater London area is one thing. If you're talking about the London area, the real city, is another thing. If you go further north or a little bit to the west, your expenses are relatively different as well. So budgeting and costings is necessary because this is all about finance. That's how you get there. That's bov.com. You go My Products, select Personal Financing, and obviously then it's BOV Studies plus plus. So it's plus written and the plus sign. Okay. I've spoken a lot about all the parties concerning this product. Yes, it's us, BOV, who are issuing the loan. It's us who are responsible for you to make it more affordable and to help you achieve your studies. And it is also very locally cost, and that is through the help, most probably through EU funds for Malta 2014-2020 program. Obviously, the Ministry for Education and Employment, which offers as well all these grants and even the tax credits and the Get Qualified schemes and a lot of other issues that will be supported through. It is part, obviously, through the Ministry responsible for European Affairs and Equality. And we have to tell you that basically the guarantor for your risk basically comes through Malta Development Bank, and also the interest subsidy during your studies. It's interest-free, I repeat, the loan is interest-free during your study period. This is all thanks to the Operation Programme 2, European Structural and Investment Funds 2014-2020, which mottos reads, investing in human capital to create more opportunities and promote the well-being of society, which is clearly and truly what we all intend to do from here. The project is part financed by the European Social Fund at a co-financing rate of 80% European Union funds and 20% national funds. May I thank you so much for your attention. I just wonder whether we have any questions, or else they can send an email or to us, to the bank. Il-mistoqsijiet tistgħu tibgħatuhom lill-bank, jew kellha forsi nistgħu niftħu daqsxejn x'isima.
If anyone has any questions to ask, feel free to ask away.
Hello. I always thought that finance is so difficult sometimes, eh? But I tend to repeat to all, we've designed this product to make studies more affordable and helpful to all. So there's somebody, I think, right?
Hi, this is Martin. Thank you for the presentation. It has been very informative. Just a quick question about the early repayment. How is that regulated?
Well, basically, early repayment, but you can do so if you want to. We cannot stop you, it's by law. But obviously, if during the studies, we always tend to suggest to the people, to the students, to the potential borrowers, during your studies and until you find employment, it's pretty obvious that it's worth it for you not to do anything. But then obviously you will be starting repaying on a normal course to the agreed term. But I tend to suggest to all and sundry, having a monthly installment is easier for all, and you can use the amounts of your grants, of your tax credits, for other lifestyle necessities. For example, we might be having lower wage levels due to the COVID crisis in certain economic sectors. So basically, I would prefer to tell people, listen, don't rush in your decisions about early repayments. If you would like to do them, you can easily do them, and you're allowed to do it by law and obviously by ethics and by agreement. Thank you.
I may ask a question, please. When it comes to no interest, the period mentioned was of 5 years. What if the studies are longer, like for over 7 years? What happens in that case?
I think we will need to design a specific product for you, basically, but it's not usually the case that it would go for 7 years. The program as it is, this is part of the operational program too. We can go up to 5 years, and that includes the course period plus 1 year.
Yeah, but one is still eligible to apply?
If the course is 5 years, we cannot give you that 1 year to submit until you find employment. We have to have a very specific case, and then we have to go to the managing authority. Possibly we could do something about it. But let's take, for example, which has nothing to do with TESS and Endeavour. If a person is going for a veterinarian course, most of the courses are 5.5 years. So it's an issue for us, and we have to sort it out with the managing authority. Okay, I mean, we need to be very specific about it. I mean, taking a 7 years course, I might say it's either you're having 2 courses and you're amalgamating into one, or else you might be going for a...
It is a PhD. It's a PhD by research.
So, and a PhD by research. So basically, I think we could easily, and you might have employment during that period. Am I right?
Yes, because it's on part-time basis.
So we could structure it differently, and possibly there might be another call at that point in time. So we finance the first 3 years or 4 years, and then we can you'll have a new loan or an end bit loan, which would be financed under a different program, because by that time the program would be finished. So, for example, in this case, all disbursement.
Okay. Thanks, Cirilla. Thank you.
Okay. Anyway, it seems that we seem to have supplied a lot and lots of information, and nobody has any questions. But yes, please feel free. I mean, we have brochures available, we have the website, there's many information. I am sure that you'll be coming with some questions yourself, so feel free to contact the bank, and possibly they put you through, and most probably to an appointment, because the nature of your questions would be quite specific to your needs. The studies are diverse. I rest assured that we have been financing a lot of different studies, both locally, abroad, part-time. The subjects could be art, sciences, whatever. Even we're assisting people in the aviation industry. As yet, for example, the aviation industry is going through a very difficult time at this point in time as well, but we're there ready to help, and obviously we're even helping out people pursuing tourism studies. And yet again, there's an issue right now, but life is made more affordable through the loan, and please don't hesitate and don't give up. I mean, the situation would have a turnaround for sure, and even if there is not, then we'll have to do something about it, and possibly we'll get it right together. Okay, thank you very much. I don't think there are the other questions by the look of it. Would you like to conclude, or it's okay? Shall we?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
So thank you for your attention. So good luck in your applications. Thank you.
And if you have any queries, feel free to email us.
Thank you.
Thank you.